Well, well, well. How's it going? The Frenchman back live out here in the lawnmower shed working on some stuff for this new knife project. I am currently working on a blade made from a Damascus billet that was sent to me from Ted from TBW Blades. So I am working a little bit on that. Not really doing a whole lot, just really working on the guard, and thought I would go over some of the things that I'm doing with the guard as, entertainment, I guess, and education. Also for me, because I'm trying some new things out on this piece of brass. What's up, Little River? What are you up to today, man? I caught your live stream yesterday. Was that yesterday? I think it was. And it was cool. Really, really cool. I appreciate you doing the walk around the shop. That was really cool. I like seeing, seeing other people's setups and what they got. And I feel like for me, my setup is pretty basic. It's a lawnmower shed, and then outside I've got just a little area right over here with an anvil and a place that I can move my forge in and out. I don't really keep it set up outside because it's not covered very well. So for a day like today where it's super cold and rainy and wet, I don't have to keep all the stuff out there. But at any rate, it was very cool seeing your setup and what you had going on. You definitely got a pretty cool space there. And hopefully one day I'll also be able to have something similar, kind of a more permanent setup. So yeah, pretty cool. I enjoyed that. So like I said, today, yes, your shop is cold as hell. Yeah, mine too. And I could see yours because it seemed like there was, maybe windows or doors. I just feel like there was the outside with outdoors, maybe. I don't know. It looked like it was pretty much outdoors. We can do a folder or something. Dude, I love it. Next time I come to Florida, which is where I was born, you had told me, oh, you're from Suwannee County, so I had to look and see where Suwannee County was. And so it's right in between Tallahassee and Jacksonville. Jacksonville is where I'm from. So yeah, you're just right down the road from me, which is pretty cool. That would be cool though, man, for sure. Anything to do with forging, making knives, hanging out with anybody really doing this hobby would be lots of fun. So anyway, I am currently working on a new knife build. And like I said, I'm making it out of this Damascus billet. Make a llama, make a kukri. I like it. Those are great suggestions. Maybe I'll make a kukri in the shape of a llama. And yeah, Bow Dragon says, I love you, baby. I'll call you tonight. Okay, Bow Dragon. Right on, brother. You guys are wacky. Come hang out with me in my wacky lawnmower shed. The only thing is you got to be wacky in the comments. That is the only prerequisite to get in, is you got to be wacky. Anyway, so yeah, I am working on a new knife build. This is a billet of Damascus that was forged out from another YouTube channel, Ted with TBW Blades, and he spent the time to create this and pretty much sent it to me, which is really cool. Make a samurai small. I like it. You guys got some good ideas. Yeah, so this is going to be just kind of a typical hunting style knife, similar to this one that I've got back here, which is another kind of similar profile. This is one that I made a while ago. This is actually my first Damascus blade that I forged out. So is it the coolest pattern? No. Is it super intricate? No, not really. But did I make this by hand? Yes, I did, and I'm very proud of it because it took a lot of time and effort, and making Damascus by hand is a lot of work. It's really fun, for one, but it's a lot of work, and it's not really as hard as you think. When I first got into knife making and I was making knives, dude, right on. Love your videos. Cool Topo just sent me $2. My guy. What is up? That is the very cool Topo? Cool Topo. Yeah. That is very, very cool, man. You are a big baller, and I like that. You're actually the first person that has ever sent me any money in a live stream, and I can't tell you just how grateful I am for that. That is wicked cool to see that. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm trying to heart the comment. Thank you. Ted's in the house. What's up, OG? Yeah, Ted, I'm just talking to these guys about working on the billet that you sent me. So that is the guy that I was just talking about, TBW Blades. His name's Ted, and he's the one who sent me this billet. So I was just talking to them about turning it into a knife. Kind of going for a similar profile as this one, just without the false edge. And I'm going to try to up the game on the handle. The handle's okay. But, you know, after looking at some other people's knives and better knives than this, you realize that, like, you know, these two pieces are super thin and they just look kind of weird. You know, you can tell that a guy who's been doing it for a year made this and not like a super quality knife. It's cool, and it's my first Damascus blade, so I like it, but you know, it is what it is. Cool Topo, another $1. My guy, dude, thank you so much. Don't feel like you have to do that either. I really appreciate it, though. If you want to, you can. I won't ever ask anybody for money on here. Although I'll gladly take it. If you got it to spare and you want to support the channel, then please feel free to do that. I think it's really awesome. The money, any bit of money that I collect through YouTube gets dumped right back into this hobby and YouTube. I don't use it to do any sort of thing other than that. In fact, I have sold 4 or 5 blades now, and each time I sell one, I just put the cash in this little picture frame, and I'm just holding it here in the lawnmower shed as a good reminder, like, hey, I've sold a few knives, keep going. And yeah, so all the money that comes in via the internet will go into the AdSense account. Another $5. My guy, you are just blowing it up. I really appreciate that. $7.97. That is strange. I thank you very, very much. Very cool of you to do that. He's got a crippling addiction to Beanie Babies. Yeah. Anyway, Ted, so we were talking about working on the billet that you sent me. And I had messaged you, I think yesterday or day before, that I haven't really made a whole lot of progress. And this is kind of where we're hanging out. I've got the blade profiled out and got the tang kind of situated. And let's see, I've got the guard piece that we're working on. And I figured I would probably try to go over what my plan is for this guard here. Cool Topo, I am a kid. Okay. Yeah, I don't recognize your name. Maybe I have seen you in the comments, but I really don't know. But please don't feel like you have to keep doing the money. We are all kids at heart, he says. Yes. It is much appreciated. It's new for me. It's weird, right? Like, I never had anybody give me money on YouTube, so this is strange, and you're seeing my reaction for the first time because it's kind of crazy. But anyway, yeah, I'm glad all you guys are here. And what I wanted to do today was pretty much go over what I'm going to be doing on this guard. I have made a few knives in the past, and most of them kind of had basic guards. You know, much like this one, where it's just a flat piece of metal. There's really no decoration to it. There's nothing super fancy about it. It just kind of looks sort of plain, just sort of basic, you know? And so I'm trying to figure out a way to up my game. Each time I make a knife, I'm trying to either do a different procedure that I haven't done, or I try to up the quality of the knife in some way by either working on the guard piece a little more, or adding more layers of Damascus, or, you know, doing a segmented handle. I try to do pretty much different things each time so that it continues to push me to get better. I could sit here and make this knife 10 times in a row, and although I would get better at the steps, it wouldn't really test my abilities and push me to do something new. So that's kind of my philosophy, I guess, is, you know, try something new each time and you'll end up learning quite a bit more. So yeah, so I'm glad you guys are here. So basically what I've done here for this is we've got this fit up onto the back of the knife. And to do that, I pretty much just drilled some holes out. Let's see if I can get a better picture going on for you guys. Yeah, there we go. So I pretty much just lined up this here, drilled out the holes, and then I just used a Dremel to kind of get this little slot going. And then once we got it fit up on here, I realized that there was still like a little tiny bit of a gap, maybe something like that. And when you get to this point, you realize, okay, you know, you got to get it seated all the way back to the ricasso. Well, lately what I've been doing is using a Dremel, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, maybe a little bit. And you get the Dremel up in the corners here, and just pretty much anywhere where the back of the ricasso is, you know, keeping it from fully seating up on there. So that's a pretty cool trick, and I've done that the last couple of times to get a good tight fit up against the back of it. And then that way you don't have any gaps and you don't have any light coming through, and it looks like the blade is coming straight out of the brass, which is nice. So what I want to do with this thing is a little bit of file work, and by that I mean shaping it. So my idea is to use like a ball peen hammer for the face, and we're just gonna put a bunch of dents in it, and that will, you know, be kind of cool. I have done that on one other guard before, and it looked cool. It's kind of like a, I don't know, an antiqued sort of look, I guess. But then what I want to do is once we get all that kind of hammered out, you're still going to be able to see the guard from the side profile. And my idea is, instead of having one completely smooth, you know, circle or oval type piece, I want to try to get the file in here and create some sort of little dips and valleys, maybe a couple of them in here, so that it looks a little more intricate, I guess, for lack of a better term. Let's see. Have you ever recessed your ricasso into the guard? Yes, that is a great idea. The flush fit on the guard is nice, yes. Yeah, I did one time get, I guess you call it a hot fit, where you can get the materials hot, or at least the guard part, and then beat it down on there. In fact, let's see, I got this one up here, and this guard was made out of mild steel, and I forged this out of just kind of bar stock. But this one was kind of tricky to get onto the back of here because it was forged, and I didn't have, like, you know, a surface grinder or any way to kind of flatten this out. It was a little rough, and so that's what I did with this one. I pretty much heated up the center portion in here, and then just put the blade into the vise and beat it down, and it is a pretty good fit now. It's kind of hard to see. There's actually a little bit of a gap up in here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that or not. So it's not perfect, but it's definitely decent. It's good enough to pass. And this is just kind of a cool blade that I made. And I made this one a while ago. It's sort of like a, I don't know, medieval dagger or something. But really like the S-guard on this, and I used that trick on this particular guard. Yes, scribe you some lines and use your Dremel to slowly remove the surface. That is also excellent advice, and that's what I did on this one. I had to, because it just wasn't sitting down on it, you know, very well. And yeah, just kind of removed a little bit around the corners and stuff like that. Yeah, I dig it. Better than anything on Etsy for sure. Awesome, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, I certainly am not the best knife maker in the world, but, you know, I sure do enjoy doing it. And it's cool to watch other people, too, and what they come up with, because it gives you inspiration to make something a little different. You know, like my style might be a little bit different than Ted's style, and Ted, you might be a little different from Little River Forge. You know, each person kind of has their own idea of throwing a knife together and what it looks like. And so watching other people work or watching their videos on YouTube can help, especially if you're watching somebody who's explaining what they're doing, and you can kind of, you know, listen to their idea of going through something and why they're doing it and whatnot. What's up, Duck? What you up to today, buddy? Yeah, we're just hanging out here, kind of messing around with this guard piece and working on it a little bit. So yeah, anyway, Ted, your billet is coming along pretty nice. Like I said, hasn't made a ton of progress on it, but I am excited to finish it out. You can actually, might not be able to pick it up super well, but you can start to see, at least in person, some of the different layers of the steel or the Damascus kind of coming through a little bit. Now this is only maybe 120 grit finish, so it's probably hard to see. I'm not seeing it in the monitor of the phone, but in person you can definitely pick it up, and you can see this thing's got quite a bit of cool stuff going on with it. So I'm definitely excited to finish this one. Yeah, so Duck Rabbit is snoozing. I ordered some belts and gator piss for my next commission. Nice, I like that. Yeah, gator piss. I've wanted to try that as well. See some other people using it and have pretty good results with it, from what I can tell anyway, which is pretty cool. I've got just the ferric chloride, and it's old. I bought it probably a year ago. I really don't know how long it lasts. Maybe you guys have a better idea. For me, I don't know, because I've only bought it once, and I used it for the first time maybe a year ago. I just got through using it on this one, which I finished maybe, I don't know, a month ago or so, and it seemed to still work pretty good. So I don't know the shelf life of watered down ferric chloride, not sure. Anyway, okay, so let's get moving to what we're doing here today, which is working on this guard. So what I have done is, once I have sanded this down and got a flat finish on the outside, I brought it up to like a 220 grit maybe. What I did was I used the drill press and a Dremel bit to scribe or cut in some little guidelines here. So hopefully you guys can pick that up some. And I can show you kind of what it looks like over here, I guess. I'll have to move the camera and put some light on it, but yeah, there we go. Hopefully you can kind of get an idea of what we're talking about over here. Let me move this down some. yeah, so that's kind of the idea there, is just using a Dremel bit here in the drill press and then using the table of the drill press. Hopefully you guys can see. I can't see what you're seeing, but hopefully that's in focus. Anyway, yeah, just using the table of the drill press, a little tiny Dremel bit, and then that way you can just kind of move your piece around like so, and it just pretty much marks out, you know, little lines in here. And I suppose if you wanted to, you know, you could make the whole brass bolster piece just with this sort of an idea. You kind of see it there, I guess. So yeah, you could use that to sort of decorate it. But for what I'm trying to do is really just using it for guidelines. And I think I've got an idea in my mind. I'm hoping that I'll be able to pull it off. I haven't done this technique before, so I'm not really sure. But we'll see if we can get it to work. So let me get you guys turned around here, and we'll throw you over here. Get some light back over here. There we go. And now I can see the screen again, so I can see what you guys are seeing. Gator piss is cool stuff. More preparation required than ferric. Yeah, so that's cool. That makes sense. I mean, the ferric chloride, if you're going to be etching a blade, and if you have before, then you know. If you haven't, then a lot of prep work is required. You know, if you're going to be etching something, it's got to be pretty well, you know, polished out or hand sanded out. This particular knife here, you can see these dull gray spots here, and I am not an expert in Damascus, but if I had to guess, I would guess that that is the steel welding wire, and just kind of the remnants of where I was welding this, you know, together. Matt, you remember the set of hunters that I just did? Well, I got an order for 2 more of the smaller ones. Nice. Heck yeah, man, that's awesome. You actually been cranking stuff out, Duck. You've been doing pretty good on your channel. Your live streams have been doing really good. And you've been making some cool stuff lately. It's been nice to be able to watch you put stuff out. But yeah, anyway, the gator piss and the ferric chloride, that's one thing you definitely have to be aware of when you're etching a blade, is kind of the preparation of the metal. I think the, you know, better polished surface that you can get, then the better result you're going to see with the etching. So like in this here, at first glance, it looks like, you know, 15 and 20, 1080, and 15 and 20. But if you look a little closer in the 1080 here, maybe I can get it up in here, you can see another layer if you get it in the right light. And it's kind of hard to see. You can see it better on this side. You can kind of see that second layer hiding in there. And I want to say that's just a smaller, thinner strip of kind of similar metal. So this one, I think this whole billet I used 3 different types of, well, 2 different types of steel, but from 3 different suppliers. So, you know, each one is going to be comprised a little bit different, or composed a little different. You know, that might have a little bit more of a certain additive than the other one. It's really just hard to say. So it's kind of a gamble when you go to etch it, you know. And so if you want, you know, if I wanted this line inside of here to be shiny like this one, then I should have used the exact same stock for this, if that makes sense. It's really just kind of, you know, a gamble when you go to do it. But yeah, anyway, the mild steel welding wire, I think that's what that is. And that's just from, you know, a guy who's been doing it for a year and trying to figure it out along the way. But now I know. I always see people talk about, getting all of your welding wire out of the billet. And now we know why, right? Because if you don't, then when you go to etch it and some of it's left in there, you'll still see it. So yeah, anyway, that is that. So now let's jump back to working on this deal here. This should be able to give you a little bit better picture. So yeah, so we've got this, little piece of brass that we're using for the bolster of this knife that we got from Ted. And we got it seated up on there pretty good. Definitely a good fit up. And so we took it over to the drill press. We used the little Dremel bit to just kind of do a layout line, for lack of a better term. And that's going to help us when we go to file here. So if we drop it on the floor, then we can pick it back up and put it in the vise. So yeah, that's what we're doing. I am going to try to get this situated, and then we're going to start filing away. Kind of already got the other side started at least. And I am just using a combination of files. I've got this little tiny one here, just a normal small round file, and then just a little bit bigger one. I think I'll probably end up switching to this bigger one, but if you notice here, and I can get a better view for you, if we do decide to use the bigger one, it will drastically change the shape of the guard. If we use the small one, then we'll pretty much, kind of have a couple of small valleys in here. But, like I said, never done this technique before, trying to, figure it out as I go. And so we're just going to use the small one for now and then see what it looks like. So that's kind of the whole purpose of using the drill press and the little Dremel bit, is really just to give yourself a little trench, to be able to start the file. And then that way you don't have uneven lines. It just gives you a good starting spot, I guess. And, like I said earlier, this is the kind of thing that I think is cool as a knife maker. You can make a bunch of knives and kind of do the same process each time. But if you do something outside of your comfort zone, or you try something new, in my mind, you're only going to get better. I think that by kind of stepping outside what you normally do, that's when you end up finding, a different technique, or you discover something that makes something easier, or, that sort of thing. And it really does make this much easier after we use the Dremel bit to just kind of lay out these lines. It really gives the file a place to sit, and I don't have to worry about it wandering out of the trench, which is nice. So yeah, this is kind of what I guess somebody would do if they didn't have a milling machine. If you had even a bench top, a little mini mill, then you could probably come up with some really cool stuff pretty easily. And maybe one day I will. I really do think that that would be sweet to own one. But for now, we're using Dremel bits and needle files. What are you guys saying up in here? Let's see. The fact that you've only been doing it for a year is crazy. I want a Frenchy knife for my collection. You guys are too kind. I tell you what. The world needs kindness. Just remember that. Any kindness that you can give it to your maximum, because the world needs it. And, the people around you need it. You may not think that they need it, and they may not realize that they need it. But any sort of kindness that you can give it, because that is the ultimate gift, I feel like. And when you're around a group of people, you ever notice that? How, like, you walk into a room or you're hanging out with people and maybe one of them's in a bad mood or something, and then it brings down the other couple of guys and now they're in a bad mood. Well, I like to be the guy that's like, screw your bad mood, we're going to get in a good mood. And it's contagious. It really is. As soon as you can turn people around and get into a good mood, it really doesn't take a whole lot of time to get people back to where they need to be, darn it. Because if you're not having fun in life, you are doing it wrong. No matter what you're doing. It doesn't have to be knife making. It could be crocheting, or I don't know, what else? Sewing, maybe. Or coin collecting. Maybe you're a coin collector. Whatever your hobby is, then do it and have fun doing it. That's what I say. So yeah, aren't you guys glad you tuned in to this epic live of this super exciting footage that I'm bringing you today? Very cool, right? Duck Rabbit Forging, welcome to Frenchie Fan. My guy, dude, what is up? You rock, brother. I tell you what, I am so grateful to every single one of you in here. I really am. Just not just for the sake of having people that watch me. I really don't care about that. I promise I don't. It's more so that it's just a group of people that like to do the same thing. And, you know, it's like, how cool is that? And none of us know each other. You know, I've never met Duck Rabbit in real life. I've seen his videos. I know what he looks like. I know what he sounds like. And that's kind of weird when you're like hanging out with somebody through the internet. I mean, I guess you can kind of get to know somebody, but it's still really strange to me. You never meet them in real life. Kind of a weird deal, I guess. But I really like the group of people that I am around on YouTube. And I don't know if that's just how it happened, or I tended to gravitate towards certain people that seem to be cool, or vice versa. I don't know, but I am certainly grateful for all of the people that like to come and hang out with me. It's just cool. Bunch of cool dudes that like making knives and like to share different tips and tricks and, you know, billets. Ted sent me this. How cool is that? You know, for somebody to spend the time, the money, the effort to make something and then send it to you, I mean, that's just cool, right? I mean, I don't know. It's really cool. And this blade, I think, is going to be epic. And that's why I'm trying to up it with a bit more of an intricate style guard. It really, you know, needs to be something a little more fancy. Now, it's not going to be a Kyle Royer masterpiece or a Tyrell Knife Works perfectly beautiful knife, because both of those people make absolutely beautiful knives. But, you know, I'm hoping that it'll be a step up for me and for what I've been putting out. I feel like most of my knives have been pretty decent. I honestly find flaws in each one of them. And if you make knives, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You make a knife and you might like it for a little while, but you remember that little tiny flaw, or, oh, I wish I would have done that a little different, or that sort of thing. So anyway, yes, a Frenchie special. I like it. That billet had a real rough start in life, Ted says. Yes, I believe you. I watched several of your shorts prior to that one, and I do remember, I think at one point, billets were thrown, words were exchanged, and yeah, I think I know what you mean. But I was just telling my wife inside before I started this, I am actually really impressed with the forge welds here. This looks like literally one piece of steel, and that's because it is. But even where, you know, you have all the different metals in here, you can't tell that this was a billet forge welded together. It looks just like, you know, a piece of knife making flat stock or bar stock or whatever this is called. Looks like just a chunk off of that. So hats off to you, man, because that's pretty hard to do. You know, I've only made Damascus a couple of times in my life, and although I did hand forge it, it's still pretty tough. This is a piece that I have saved, and this is actually the other half to this knife. I had plans to make this knife twice as many layers, and the one that split in half on me became this knife, and turned the other piece into like a little dagger type thing. But anyway, something like this, right, where you've got clearly, let me see if I can move this here. You can clearly see a major low spot right along here. And what's messed up is all of this right in here is welding wire. And because I don't have the cojones to try to just do it the proper way and tack weld it on the corners and use borax and that whole thing, I tend to weld all of the seams. And that's just because I'm not very good at it. And I did try to make some Damascus the very first time I ever made it. I did make it doing that method where I just tacked the corners and then did some borax. And what's funny is all of the forge welds went really well. And it was like, okay, cool. This isn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. But after, you know, kind of going through the billet and making a blade shape out of it, and then I started grinding in the bevels, that's when you could kind of see. And you would start grinding the bevels, and then you'd see a little nick right here, or an area where it was dirty, where it didn't forge weld. So I'd push past that, and then it would pop up another one over here. So it was just littered all throughout the whole blade with little tiny spots. And, you know, in general, it worked pretty well, but it's really, you know, if you're going to go with all of that effort to try to make something cool and you still end up with 4 or 5 little spots, it's just aggravating. And so that's why I weld all of my seams. Hopefully one day when I get more experience, I'll be able to do it the correct way. And I've learned quite a bit since then. You know, I've got some more weapons in the toolbox, and you know, soaking the billet in WD-40 beforehand, trying to get the perfect flame, you know, where it's kind of a zero oxygen or neutral style flame. So there's a lot of stuff that I did not know back then that I'm starting to learn now that would definitely help me the next go around. But yeah, that hopefully will still be a usable piece. I do like Little River Forge says grind it out, forge it flat. I 100% agree with that. That is probably the best idea for this thing. And that's probably what I'll end up doing. Because if I don't, I'm definitely going to have a ton of welding wire in the blade, just like we do here, where you've got these little gray spots going on. And, you know, if you didn't know any better and you were just an average guy looking at this, you may not really, you know, or you just be like, oh, well, that's cool. It's kind of part of the knife. But if you make knives, then you know, and I know, you know, that's the biggest thing is I know that I messed up, and that to me is not okay. We got to try to fix that, Matthew. So anyway, yeah. Where are we at? We're at 40 minutes. I still got lots of people hanging. You guys are awesome. What are you saying here? Grind it out, forge it flat. Clay Weaver. Art is never finished, only abandoned. Leonardo da Vinci. You are not alone. I like that. That is a nice saying. Drew Hodson. Oh, TBW, yes. Diesel is cheaper than WD for the future. I like that idea. And I have heard of people using diesel. And so I guess the whole idea is that it soaks in between the layers and then doesn't allow for oxidization, I guess. I'm not really sure the science behind it, but I guess that's the principle. Kind of like the borax, it just kind of keeps the sides of the metal from oxidizing. So yes, that is a great tip. Drew Hodson, I think I finally got a good 5-layer with hand hammer and stainless wire. Excited for the first Damascus, but that's a lot of hammering that can go wrong. Yeah, it is, man. It is a lot of hammering. And you know, you get you get so far on a billet and you've made so much progress that you're almost scared to take it to the next level. You know, like, oh, well, this one went really well, but you're only one away from screwing the whole thing up. So that's why I think, you know, super intricate patterns and high layer counts, they're, you know, they're worthy of being called cool because a lot of time and effort went into doing them. Ted says it creates a carbon layer to resist oxygen. See, Ted, that's why we need you, because you're smart and you know fancy words like carbon and oxygen. Oh yeah, that's why we need you, bro. I'm just saying. I just yeah, I didn't really. I guess I kind of knew that. Sometimes it's just hard to put words on your words. You know, you're like, hey, I'm trying to say something, but I can't quite put my finger on it. I have been rambling now for 41 minutes. That is awesome. I am really good at rambling on and leaving the screen just sitting there blank for you guys to look at a blank screen. And there's my finger on the screen, so there you go. Yeah, can kind of give you a quick look around at the shop so that I can stand up for a second and yeah, give you a look at the forge area. Let's go out here. So this is the backyard. You are currently in Nixa, Missouri, and it is right just south of Springfield. This is my house here. It's a very tight neighborhood, as you can see. All the other houses that look just like my house, and they're all super close to one another, and got a pretty small backyard here. Not a whole lot of grass to cut. It's enough though, I guess. What's up, RC? I'm in my shed doing some heat treatment. Heck yeah, let's go. Yeah, RC's been making some cool stuff recently. He's got some different build videos on his website. If you guys don't know him, go check him out as well. Anyway, so yeah, so this is kind of the corner back here where I do what I do. Got the old fire pit and the lawnmower shed. And just behind it here, I've kind of thrown up like a sun cloth and do all my forging and stuff back here. It's really quite muddy out here, so it's not super great when it's you know, wet and nasty, but pretty much have the basics. I've got the anvil and the anvil stand underneath of this bucket. That just helps keep the water off of it, I guess. Just recently built a new stand for this, just out of some, you know, I guess that's treated pine. I love how you put your forge as close to the neighbors as humanly possible. That's, you know, that's the neighborly thing to do. And I've added fence pickets here. Honestly, for, I guess, my own benefit, so they don't have to see me. Plus, I'm out here forging, and I can't let the knives sit in the forge too long. So, you know, take a leak back here in the corner. And, yeah, definitely don't want to be taking a leak in front of the neighbors. It's not neighborly to do that, I guess. Unless you have a little area back here with extra fence pickets. So, yeah. And yes, helps damp the noise a lot, I'll bet. Yes, it actually does, for sure. And luckily, I don't really get too many complaints. There's kind of like a younger dude that lives in that house. These people are renters actually behind me. So, you know, it is what it is. They're nice, kind of a younger couple with a little girl, I believe, or maybe one or two kids. I don't really remember. It does cost extra to see Frenchie behind the scenes. You're right, it does. Not really, but you know, I've got a little wood pile back here. It's actually pretty wet and gross out here today, but yeah, that's kind of the area. Pretty small, but it's basic and it's enough for what I'm doing. And the old Frenchie Forge sign, because you got to put a sign on your workspace. You don't have to, but you can. And yeah, that's what I've done out of plywood. Yeah, yeah, that is what you signed up for, Duck. Not anything too super fancy, you know. Just a guy trying to get by making knives. That's really what it is. And yeah, so into the lawnmower shed we go. I also don't think I get great service in there. I know like the last couple of live streams, it seemed to cut out a little bit, and that might be because I'm closing the door. I don't really know. But I suppose if you lose me, let me know, and I'll try to quit moving around maybe. Yes, the occasional potty break / smoke break for sure. Gotta have it. Gotta have them both. All right, so back inside, and yeah, that's pretty much what it is, you know, just a small little area. Drill press, got the old 2x42, got the bandsaw, got a lot of belts and clamps hanging up. Just probably the usual, what you're going to find in most people's knife shop is a very large mess. Yeah, the Wi-Fi connection. Yeah, 30 minutes and others, then it's fine. Yeah, I think mine does kind of, maybe not disconnect, but it kind of loses its signal for a while, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I got an old dresser back here. That's where I keep a lot of just random stuff, tools and things. Got some sanding pads. Get this focused a little better. Yeah, some pin stock. I've got the bucket back here. This is where I keep all of the old like handle pieces that I've cut off of handles. And you'd be surprised how much you'll actually go back here and be like, oh yeah, no, I totally needed a purple piece of G10. And boom, there you go. It's right in the old bucket. So you can see all kinds of pieces from other knives that I've put together. Now that I don't believe was a knife. Maybe it was. But little chunks of wood and stuff. It's good to hold on to. I am not a hoarder, I promise. Or maybe I am, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, you never know when you're going to need a little chunk of some old handle material. So, yeah. All right, so anyway, I guess we'll hook you back up over here. We're coming up on an hour here. That's pretty good for me. I can ramble for maybe 45 minutes, an hour tops. And then I just don't want to ramble anymore. So, you know, there's that. And it's funny because I always have an idea going into like, okay, I'm going to do a live stream today. I'll make a leather sheath. That's what I did on my last one. I spent 1 hour pretty much just rambling and talking to people. And I got the sheath pattern about halfway cut out. So I made absolutely zero progress on what I was supposed to be doing because I was doing stupid stuff like talking and walking around the shop and, oh, hey, have I showed you my Anvil yet? Yes, Matt, you have. You've showed it to us every single live stream. We saw it last time. We don't want to see it again. Will you please just make the leather template? So yeah, I get sidetracked pretty easily, kind of like a squirrel chasing a nut, or a dog chasing his tail, maybe. Either one of those, or both of those, sometimes. But anyway, yeah. So, like I said, this is something new for me, doing file work on a guard. It sounded like a cool idea, and I saw one other video of somebody doing something similar to this, and so that's what kind of gave me the inspiration to try it. Yeah, and I think the idea here being that the deeper that we go here, and if we go deep enough to where these two lines that we're filing out start to meet up in the middle, we should be able to have, from this side view, kind of a swoopy-doop pattern, if that makes sense. You know, swoopy-doop. Anyway, I haven't seen the anvil on a live stream. You know, I haven't really done a whole lot of forging on a live stream, but I feel like that's an excellent thing to do during a live stream, because it's nice to get in and watch people do stuff live. Maybe not sitting here filing a piece of brass, but, you know, forging something out on an anvil, that's much more interesting, gives people something to look at, and, you know, it's just cool. So I think that that is a really good idea. Yes, swoopy doop, Jeff Rose, you know what I'm talking about. Swoopy doop. Who likes that swoopy doop? You got that swoopy doop, bruh? Yeah, I got that swoopy doop, dog. So that's what we're going for, a little swoopy doop. What anvil do you use again? So I use just a little Harbor Freight anvil, kind of like this one. This was the very first Harbor Freight anvil that I bought, and you can clearly see it's not super great. It's about the size of my fist. And yeah, this is actually, it's still pretty heavy for one hand. I don't know, it's probably 10 pounds maybe or something, but I actually have made a knife on this thing, and it was pretty funny. It's definitely doable. They obviously put in a super awesome horn. You know, they had the blacksmith at heart when making this anvil. They said, we're going to make the coolest swoopy doop horn that any blacksmith has ever seen. We're going to sell 1 million of these. And I bet you they did. But now it's just hanging out in here in case I need, you know, some sort of a hard surface, which I really don't use much in here anymore. I guess I do sometimes, or I'll use this little back piece. But yeah, so I've got that. And I'll show you a couple of the other anvils. And I'll show you, this is something that Mike and I were talking about. Mike from Sam Dahl and Son, that is his YouTube channel, and he seems to be a pretty cool guy. But we were talking about anvils and the ball bearing. So he recently put out some content, and he was talking about anvil rebound. And that got me interested as to how my anvils compare. And so I got a little 1-inch ball bearing, and this is the Harbor Freight little 10-pound anvil. And it's got a little bit of bounce to it, in all honesty. Not, oops, not super great, but I mean, you know, for, I think I paid 20 bucks for this, or 30 bucks. Cast iron, probably. Although, I don't know, this one has quite a bit more bounce than my other cast iron one. Definitely not super great, but it's got a little bit of bounce. Let's go out here and I'll show you the other Harbor Freight anvil. I think it's made by Doyle, if I'm not mistaken. So this one's actually pretty decent. You know, it doesn't come all the way back up, but it's certainly got more bounce than any of my other ones. So, you know, not the best, but it definitely has some rebound. pretty good for the most part. Anything kind of steel, anything would have more bounce than that. Yeah, for sure. And I'll show you. So this one is a cast steel anvil, and that's why it does have bounce. The one inside we just hit, most likely iron. I'll show you one that is in my garage. We'll have to walk around there for a second. My dad got it for me for Christmas, and it is 100% cast iron. It is massive. Get around this puddle real quick. Yeah, it's like a 200-pound cast iron anvil. So it's really cool that it's 200 pounds, but cast iron, it doesn't have much bounce at all. You in here? Okay, she's not in there. Just gonna ask her to open the garage. Once we get in here, I'll have to move something, but I can show you how bad it is. Yes, for sure. It's good for the price. You have to expect that when you get it. Absolutely. So here it is under here. And like I said, my dad just got it for me for Christmas. And I'll still be putting it to use in some form or fashion. I just don't know what type of form or fashion yet. So it's massive. It's 200 pounds. And you see a lot of these in a lot of places. In fact, when I was first looking for anvils, I found nothing but these. And when I was doing the research, it was pretty much saying the same thing. You know, like if you want a somewhat of a decent anvil, stay away from the $200, 200-pound ones. And so that's what this is. Let's do the ball bearing test on this, and you'll see what I'm saying. I mean, wow. That is just god-awful. I would say that has maybe 5% rebound, something like that. So yeah, that's right. You get what you pay for. But, you know, although it's not cast steel, it is a big chunk of metal, which is cool. And then, yeah, railroad track is definitely something that you can use. And I have a couple of different railroad track anvils in the backyard. I've got maybe 2 or 3 of them, and I have also used those as well. But for all the metal squishing surfaces that I have, the Doyle Harbor Freight anvil is where it's at. I think I got that one on sale for maybe, I think I paid like 120 bucks. Oh man, parkour for sure. I've got the my house slippers are all wet now. Man almighty, my toes are cold, y'all. I'd stick to the Doyle. It's by far better. Absolutely. It 100% is. Is it the biggest one I got? Nope. But it's perfect for knife making. It really is. You really don't need, in my opinion anyway, anything, you know, bigger than this. It's pretty good size. I really like the horn on it. Just the placement of everything is well thought out, and it's just about perfect for, you know, what I need so far. Enjoying the channel so far. Appreciate it, man. Thank you very much. I enjoy the company of all of you guys hanging out with me. It's always appreciated to hang out with some people and spitball ideas about knife making. It's a lot of fun. So, yeah, there we go. Now you have a tour of the area that I use. So, that's pretty much a wrap. My Doyle surprised me, 80% rebound. Yeah, for sure. That's probably about what mine is as well. 80, 85 maybe. So is it the best rebound? You know, no. I don't know what the best rebound is. You know, I mean, I guess 100% rebound. Is that possible? Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. Don't stop the live stream, he says. Man, I have to because I'm cold and my feet are now soaking wet from doing the parkour. Plus, I got 3 kids inside. My wife's in there. I told her 30 minutes. Here we are at an hour. So, you know, German steel from the 1900s. You should make a 2-minute montage of all the work you did today. I like that. I absolutely will do that. You only need a little bit of B-roll. That's right, I do. Yeah, my goals for the upcoming year is to try to post a little bit more. I've been trying to up the live streams just as an extra form of content. What's really cool about live streaming is you can just put the camera on and let it roll. You don't have to go back and spend the time editing out a video. I really enjoy shooting videos and editing them. I didn't think that I was going to like that, but I do. It's a lot of fun. The only downside to it is it takes a ton of time. Some cases I might spend just as much time getting all of the stuff that I've shot onto the computer and turning it into a video. It's quite silly. So that's kind of cool with the live stream, is you can just let it roll and you've got, a video. But that's one of my goals for this coming year, is to keep posting videos, keep trying to push myself to do different things, different knife builds, stuff that's outside of my comfort zone. That's the only way I'm ever going to get better at making knives. That's the only way I'm going to produce better looking knives, is if I do something different. Because right now I'm producing okay knives that are okay, but I know I got that feeling inside me. I know I can do better. And so that's my goal, is to put a little bit more time and patience into making a knife, or like we did today, where we're hanging out working on the guard, instead of just kind of fumbling through it and putting out a smooth, quick and easy guard that would look okay, stopping and thinking about it, putting a little bit more effort into it, and putting out something that might look a little bit better. So that's kind of the idea. Do you make hunting spears? No. No, I have not made a hunting spear, although that sounds cool and I should. I like the idea of a hunting spear. That sounds like a lot of fun. I could hunt the weeping willow tree in my backyard. That poor thing, I have thrown so many blades and axes and whatnot into that thing. Yeah, it's got a lot of cuts in it. Can't wait to see the finished product. Dude, me too, man. Thank you again very much for sending this my way. Everybody that's still in here, go, the last commenter, Ted, TBW Blades, go check out his channel, show him some love and support. Go like and subscribe, and just watch his videos. He's got some really cool stuff. He's the one who made this Damascus billet for us, which I am turning into a knife. Duck Rabbit is another one. He's got really cool stuff. Go check him out. Show him some love. Subscribe. Watch his videos. All that stuff. Little River Forge and everybody else in here. Go support one another. We're all hanging out anyway. Might as well. Anyway, I like it. I'm back. Laugh out loud. You made it back just in time for us to wrap up, man. But I really appreciate you coming and hanging out. And to Cool Topo, where'd you go, my guy? Is that what I'm supposed to be saying? Cool Topo or Top-O? I don't know. But Cool Topo or Topo hit me up with some money during this live stream. How cool is that? I didn't ask him to do that, but he felt like he wanted to. I'll take it, I guess. That is really cool. It's a first for me. Nobody's ever given me money like that. So thank you very much. I really appreciate that. It means a lot. Also, Duck Rabbit, you will be the first to know that you are the very first and only member of my channel. So you, good sir, are quite awesome. Thank you for doing that. Because you're the only member of my channel, we'll have to figure out something. You tell me what you want from me. You demand it, darn it. You're the only member. You tell me what you want out of this channel and we'll make it happen, man. I really like it. Wait until next time, you'll get more money. I like it. Thank you again, dude. Appreciate it. Get here late, but always a pleasure. Yeah, Jeff Rose, appreciate you, man. All of you guys, thank you very much. Your support means the world. I really appreciate it. And we'll be back again with another live stream and completing this knife as well. So make sure to hang out and check it out when it's done. And anything that you guys need, if you ever have any questions about knife making or any of the stuff we talked about today, feel free to reach out to me. I love interacting with all you guys, so I'm an open book. If you guys need help with anything or have any questions, then definitely hit me up. Custom Frenchy socks, I like it. All right, peace, y'all. Appreciate you guys. You guys have a good rest of your weekend. Go do something fun, keep creating, and we'll catch you guys soon. Peace. Bye.